Coming up on today's show, we have a special bonus mini episode, or not so mini, where we talk about some of the big Disney news that just came out. 5 ways that your Disney vacation is getting easier. It might feel like a time travel back to 2019. That's coming up today on Traveling with the Mouse. Welcome, everyone, to Traveling with the Mouse. I am back for this mini episode. I am your host, Jason, and I am joined by 2 esteemed co-hosts, Adam.
What's up, everybody?
And John.
Fast Pass Plus is back.
Oh. Yeah. All right. Oh.
It is.
So, of course, as we are about to release a new episode, Disney breaks all this news.
That's the way it always goes, no matter what day we choose.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
We've tried to choose days. It's like, oh, they seem to do it on this day.
Yeah, we've moved our episodes around just for that, and it still doesn't help.
It's like they know.
So, Disney Parks, they made this 5 announcements. 5 updates to make your visit easier to Walt Disney World.
That's exciting. I like an easier visit.
Although
the title, 5 updates to make your
right. So before we get that, -1 update or 0.01, whatever you want to call it. Since John and I talked about this a little bit, but I want Jason's input on the change they made to the modifying dining reservations within 2 hours.
Sounds like we're not parking at the Grand Flow anymore.
Yeah.
That's basically my reaction. They took it away.
That was your only thought.
Yeah. I happened to see the Diz Unplugged today, and Rhino's hosting now, or this week since Pete left the show, whatever. But anyway, he was talking about, this is, basically saying, how people shouldn't do this and blah, blah, blah. And then Craig was like, well, I did this all the time.
Of course. Of course, Craig would be the one.
Right. He's like, I admit I've done that where I'm having to get somewhere. I'm like, I'll see if a Grand Floridian Cafe is available, So
there you go.
And as I said in this week's episode, that it's probably the worst kept secret at this point. I mean, so many people were doing it that it was only a matter of time.
If it's happening enough that Disney reacts, then,
No, well, they monetized it. You can still do it. You just have to pay the breakage fee for not showing up for your reservation.
Right.
They're just saying you're going to have to pay to do this, pretty much. Yeah.
Just because, I did happen to do this today for funsies. I looked and I saw a lot of Grand Floridian Cafe, a lot of Kona Cafe, and a lot of Steakhouse 71s available today.
More so than usual?
Yes, a lot. I even saw a ton of California Grill today, 5 different times. So
and again, it could be the fact that it's also slower right now, too.
True, but I thought that compared with, this announcement kind of made it. I just was like, that's funny to me.
To be honest, I mean, we have long used and abused this system, but it's the right change because I feel like they've had a lot of restaurants where they're quote booked solid, but nobody's in them. You could just walk up and get a reservation at a lot of them. This will be better in the long run, and it'll probably, to some of the stuff we're about to talk about, they have to make this change because they got to make sure there's availability.
Right. So anyway, okay, moving on. We already kind of talked about that, but I just wanted your input.
Yeah, we had to get one more opinion.
Okay, so number 1 thing that's going to improve, make your visit easier. Number 1.
Disprove?
Whatever.
Unprove?
They're going to remove theme park reservation requirements for date-based tickets starting January 9th, 2024.
So right around the time of the marathon.
Basically, after the Christmas break is over, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking they wouldn't do this January 1st because people who are staying Christmas, New Year's, their trips would overlap. Therefore,
They probably already get it planned.
Right. You would probably, So to kind of make it a breaking point for like after the holidays, you kind of have to do it mid-January. But makes sense, right?
Well,
I mean, to me, I assume that's why they did that.
My first obvious questions will be, how will virtual queues work?
Yeah.
They didn't really announce any change to virtual queues. Why would you think they would work any different than they currently are?
Well, you have to have a reservation to get the virtual queue.
Right.
You just don't have to have one anymore. That's the only difference.
Well,
I mean,
not every ticket is affected by this, like annual pass holders.
Okay.
And that'll be another part, obviously, that we talk about. And then I guess non-date based tickets, which I assume are annual passes. What other kind of tickets would be non-date based?
Never
That's
know.
why they said date-based.
Do they still sell anytime tickets?
no. They got rid of that a long time ago because they want to be able to charge you differently depending on the day. That's why they're all date-based now.
Right.
So,
If you're buying a regular ticket, essentially, you don't have to say
Where you
which
going?
park you're going to go. So I assume they would pull the restriction off of virtual queue. Would that also
But they also
mean-
didn't announce any changes to park hopper times. It still says 2 p.m. So
Right.
once
They did
you've
not.
committed to a park, are you stuck in that park till 2?
Yes.
Yes, you would
appears
be.
to be the case. They did not say anything about park hopping. So that was the one thing I was hoping I would hear out of these 5, but it's not.
no.
So.
The change appears to be still, it's like another way of doing, let's put it this way, a less restrictive way of doing what Chapek talked about with the family from Colorado or whatever.
Ugh, Denver, Seattle,
for
wherever.
Denver,
Yes.
So this, because the focus, the date-based tickets are mainly what the people that travel or that are going for vacation get, correct?
Further out, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Therefore, they took the restrictions off of them to help them. They don't have to do the park reservations anymore. So really, they kept the restrictions essentially on the annual pass holders, and they just made it less restrictive.
Right.
With the thought being that it still is going to help the day guest or the hotel guest in their experience. That's the idea, I believe, behind that. So
Yeah.
it's like an improvement upon Chapek's plan.
Yeah, it seems that way because they're not changing the 2 p.m. park hopper. So even not knowing ahead of time what parks are going to be busier, I guess, with the data of reservations, by early morning you would still know. Therefore, by park hopping time, you've maybe made adjustments during the day of staffing or whatever you think.
Yeah.
That
You
seems
need to
hard
do
to do, though. That seems
on
really
the
hard to
fly.
do.
Yeah, that does.
I just think they've learned everything they wanted to know about the whole park reservation experience. It served its purpose for a time, and now they just said, we no longer need this thing.
Well,
That's pretty much what they've done.
I think this is a change because Iger and DeMauro are like, okay, we got to undo all the things that Chapek put in place that he didn't listen to anybody else. So they're starting to finally go, okay, well, let's try to roll it back slowly. Because if DeMauro comes out and is like, oh, this isn't necessarily a part of the leadership change, like BS. Of course it is. I got Iger all over it. Anyway, next one.
I think what they've probably really discovered is that, since reservations
Don't piss
are
off the fans that show up all the time.
there's that, but I think they've also discovered that since reservations are highly available still, it's very rare that they use them all, that it's unnecessary for that reason.
But let's be
that's
honest, the last year, they haven't been restricting anything. They've just been counting the number of people that are coming in. They've even added reservations.
Right. I mean, it's still busier than it was.
Right.
They'll put it where a place is sold out for a day so that you'll be forced to book Animal Kingdom open, only to open it up again later.
Exactly. Because that's happened so many times where, this park was not available but I just kept trying. Eventually, I got it. So it's like, it had nothing to do with, oh, we're limiting capacity and making it easy. They weren't doing that. They just wanted to know where you were going to go. So get rid of that, thankfully. Okay. Number two.
Number 2.
Good to go days for annual pass holders and cast members. Meaning some days, we don't know how many it's going to end up being, but assuming less crowded days, non-spring break, non-holidays, all this kind of stuff, they'll allow annual pass holders and cast members to come in whenever they want. No reservations for certain days.
Cool. So how much are they going to reduce the reservations on the other days?
See, we don't know. They didn't give specifics.
Don't know.
Yeah.
But I assume it'll be, the busy season still. As pass holders, we would still have to make a reservation.
I would think to start with, and I know this sounds crazy because annual pass holders, when are they going to go? The weekend, right? To start with, it's probably going to be you have to get one on the weekends. And it's probably going to be you have to get one for holidays, like you were saying.
Right. And at some point, it's like, okay, even on a busy holiday, you can still go to Animal Kingdom or Epcot most of the time. It's Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom are the two that they would probably restrict.
Because think about it, the most recent thing that they changed was after 2 p.m. you don't need a reservation for a pass holder.
Right.
With the exception of
Magic Kingdom on weekends.
On Saturday and Sundays, right.
Yeah.
So that lets you know right there that those are the days that you're going to need a reservation if you're a pass holder, So
I don't know. I still think these good to go days don't seem like they're going to be as free and open. It seems like it's going to be fairly limited to start with. I don't know.
Then again, the stay tuned for more details might be they're waiting to hear how people talk about it before they make a decision.
Good point.
So
it's kind of broad. Yeah, it's not very specific. Anyway, okay, so it's still positive though. We're heading in the right direction. Number 3. Disney Dining Plan.
DDP.
Plural are coming back.
I feel like we're on the top 10 or whatever it is on the late show, the way you were saying that. Number 3.
Oh. Right.
All right, go ahead.
We only have 5 though. But yeah, dining plan.
Yeah.
Returning in January. You can start booking these. What was the date? Like May 30th, I believe it was. For next year. So
well, that puts them back to the
meals.
180-day window, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I am not happy about this, honestly.
Why?
I feel like the dining plans reduce the overall quality of the food that you are served at Disney World. I feel like, in general, a lot of places' quality has stepped up a bit.
That's a good point.
Because we have to pay cash for it. And the dining plan forces them to try to,
cheap out
perceived value and cheap out. So,
yeah.
Not super thrilled.
You're going to have a lot more people eating certain places that weren't doing it too.
Right. Well, I mean, we'll get into the details, but a lot of folks aren't going to do signatures on this plan. So those should still stay pretty good.
Right, because of the 2 credits and whatnot. We also don't know yet the pricing, but I'm assuming it will be an increase over what it was pre-COVID, since they're going to, blame inflation or whatever. But
of course it's going to be higher.
Definitely going to be higher. No doubt.
It's going to, well, I don't know. I question, it probably won't be as much higher as you would think. The only reason why I say this is because one thing that has not really gone up a ton since this is Disney's food pricing, truthfully. It was already on up there pretty a bit, but they haven't increased it by a lot because they didn't have to. They already were there, pretty much.
Yeah, I remember some things did, like quick service things, whatever went up.
But they did mainly like side items. They did it sneakily. Like side items started going up and drinks started going up, right? Stuff like that. The high profit items are just they went ahead and increased on that. The entrees, they didn't change much. Like, for instance, you look at the quick service, like the prices on them, it's like the same as, say, going to Chick-fil-A or McDonald's right now. I mean, for a meal. So.
Well, I think pretty much if you were familiar with the dining plan, it's pretty much the same, except they don't have the signature one. So they have like the sort of the quick service one and then the regular one. Each of them come with, so the quick service gets you 2 quick service meals and 1 snack and 1 refillable mug per person.
Yeah.
You buy for the whole party. It's sort of a pool of credits.
Right.
Snacks can be things like a Dole Whip, stuff like that.
Bottle of water can be as little as that, which please don't do that.
The one thing I will point out that I don't think was last time, they did include in the table service before, in the table service credits, when it went away last time, you could use your table service credit for your meal plus an alcoholic beverage, right? Instead of regular beverage. But now in the quick service plan, you can also get an alcoholic beverage on your quick service meal as well.
Yeah, you can sub out a standard beverage for an alcoholic beverage, beer, wine, or cocktail.
So if you do the quick service plan, you should just do Satuli Canteen for all of your credits.
I suppose.
I like how the description of what I'm reading right here, they put it down. We know our guests and families in particular have missed dining plans, which offer guests the convenience and peace of mind of prepaying for their meals and snacks. They just out in the open said it.
Right.
It's not a discount. You're just prepaying.
Yeah.
They just really said it out in the open.
It is totally a prepay. And honestly, it is a smart move from their perspective for the illusion of value. There is something to be said of the value of prepaying and then not having checks come to your table once you're there. Right.
Well,
all that money is spent, and so it's going to feel like a value even though it's not.
Right. I was going to say, in the past, they never used that language, though, is what I'm saying. They always treated it like you'll save money by getting the Disney dining plan. And now they're just out in the open and say, yeah, we know it's just prepaying.
It's also a line reducing strategy because it forces more people to feel compelled to go to table service dining.
Yeah.
True.
And sit down.
And it takes them off, out of the pathways and queue lines for longer than they probably would have if they were doing quick service or whatever. Do you think the cast members hate this, though? I was wondering because...
I think they do because it's a pain in the butt.
It adds complexity, but also tips, of course, are not included. And so I feel like people would stiff.
They're probably more likely to stiff. Yeah.
Right, because they're already paid, and they're like, dang, I gotta pay something more? Like, I'm giving you $10.
Some people.
Unless you have 6 people, then it's automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, most you would think are a family of 4 or whatever kind of thing.
A lot of people go as a bigger group, though. You usually have a family of 4 going with another family of 4. Right. Like, it's a big party, usually.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, though, if cast members hate the dining plan or not, but...
I do like the last line there. It says, both plans will be a great value for families with young children with access to many spectacular food and beverage offerings. Yeah. Because we were complaining about the fact that, like, when you're paying cash, especially the family-style meals, how, like, the price for a child that barely eats anything is automatically $30 or whatever. And they don't even come close to eating that amount of food. I guess on the dining plan, it might feel at least like more of a...
I don't know. I forgot what the price for a kid was, but I'm like, they're never going to eat that much food.
It's not going to be that much different than it was,
That's why I would never really consider doing this again, I don't think. I mean, I'll never say never, but...
I would only do it if I was going with a party of maybe first-timers who would like it. There is a certain group of people that I would recommend it to. I liked it back when I first started going because, again, it wasn't that it controlled cost. It controlled my cost once I arrived. Right? So all of my cost for the vacation, for the most part, was already done by the time I stepped foot. It reduced my stress.
Right. People do like that. It simplifies things a little bit. You know where you're going. You know what you're doing. You don't have to, bring budget.
But now that I know more about Disney, I can beat the price. Like, I could probably come out cheaper and still eat really well because I know the good places. I know where I want to spend extra money.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I guess for me now, I have DVC, so a lot of times I go and I'm not paying for a hotel room, so
Right.
I'm prepaid for those.
If you're someone like myself, I don't
30 years,
necessarily
50 years.
I don't necessarily want a table service every day. That's just me. I don't have to
Me
have
either.
a table service every day.
I don't need a table service every day.
Right. And I don't want to be forced to use all these credits. I'd rather just I like to go with the flow, which is, hey, there's a reservation for this available. Hey, let's just go check it out,
I can't
Which
wait to
is-
see if they accept a credit for Batu bits with a side of
Yeah.
a jet juice at the Otis
Yeah,
Cantina.
Otis.
Is that a quick service meal?
I was also La Cava wouldn't count either, so, that would be where I would hang out most of the time.
The chips might be counted as a snack credit, but
Like a
we already
snack
got a
credit?
hookup for the chips. They already got a hookup for some
Yeah.
chips.
Oh my gosh, do we ever? So, but you couldn't sub something for a margarita, could you? I don't think so.
I don't think we just mentioned a moment ago, by the way, that the dining plan coming back, they did reduce it from 4 choices to 2, because before there was actually 4 choices.
There were 4? I thought there were only
There was
3. What was the
There
4?
was a deluxe plan, I remember before, and the regular plan, quick service plan, and then just a snack plan, right? Something like that.
Oh, they had a
I
snack
can't
plan
remember
before? I
that.
forgot about
I
the
think
snack
they may
plan.
have, yeah. I
know they had a
did.
deluxe dining plan. I remember that one.
Yeah. That was for people who want to eat signatures.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
says there
the
were
deluxe.
4, but it doesn't say what they were.
I remember the deluxe was you got a lot, at least 2 tables.
You got
table
3
services.
3 table
Yeah.
service credits a day.
A
3
day,
table
yeah.
service credits.
Yeah,
so
you
either
paid
you
for
were
it
going to
too.
be eating sit down for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or you were doing at least a signature a day.
A day. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. If you're
That's
doing
crazy.
3 table services a day, you're basically you're not doing anything else. You're just eating.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing the whole time.
The other thing I wish you could do with the dining plan is buy additional credits if you wanted to during, on the app. I wanted more snack credits, or I want to do a signature, so I want to buy an extra, table service one. They should totally do that, right? And they should allow you to redeem 2 snack credits and get a cocktail or a drink somewhere.
Well, you were allowed
Right.
to in the past take a quick service and turn it into 3 snack credits. That was
Right.
another conversion.
You could
that you could
convert,
do.
but if you wanted to eat a signature and you didn't have enough credits, why can't you just say, I want to add an extra credit?
Don't let the dining plan come and infect our signatures. Signatures are cash only.
Yeah, they should be. Some places still should be off, which a few are, but
I'm assuming Takumite is not going to start accepting dining plans. So
probably not. Victoria and Albert's never did either. So anyway,
Which is understandable.
so dining plan, we've never been huge fans of it, but we get obviously the reason why so many people like it.
Their cost is set.
The other thing I guess to mention with dining plan is, do you think they'll ever do the free dining promotion again? I think they hated doing that.
No,
Yeah,
I don't see that one coming back. Unless attendants just take the severe downturn. I don't see them doing that.
Well, I
don't think
see
they
them.
want
I
to.
see them deciding to do a promo where they'll do it for one Tuesday
yeah.
in September for 5 people, just so they can say
Yeah.
they did it.
Well, nowadays, as we just briefly mentioned, summer is the slow time, so maybe they'll do it during the summer.
Right. Maybe for select days on the worst rooms in any hotel, you'll get a free dining package.
It's funny. It's like the whole thing is flipped. Used to be summer was the busiest because obviously it was during summer break. Now parents don't even care when they take their kids out of school. It just doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, it's definitely flipped. So
And you just have to eat too much food. For me, I don't want to eat that much food.
Wow, I thought I'd never hear that from you, Adam.
I know. I'm a changed man. Yeah.
What if
Oh,
they
it's
offered a
definitely- it's too much food for me. It always has been.
Disney beverage plan, full?
No, that I
Like on
could
a
get
cruise
behind.
ship.
That I could get behind.
And we will be right back.
Calling all parents. Meet the Family Cash Card, Greenlight's newest credit card for parents. You can earn up to 3% cash back on every dollar spent. No limits, no categories, no hassle. No kidding. You can choose to auto-invest your cash back to pay for your kids' college. Apply it to your balance, or send your cash back straight to your wallet. It's basically cash back your way, every day. Get started today at greenlight.com.
All right, we need to move on to the other one.
Okay,
We
sorry.
spent a little too much. We can cover this again when we get more details. Yeah.
Here's the other one that was pretty vague to me. More time for Disney Resort hotel guests. So does that mean they're extending the morning hours? They didn't really say that. They're just said a lot of whatever it is. They're continuing.
They're probably just going to keep it the way it is. They're going to keep it the way it is.
Like, can't you make it an hour?
This that I
Next
see
year.
says early
Early
entry and extended evening hour perks continue. So it sounds like it's just gonna. It sounds like they're just gonna leave it the same.
So that really wasn't an announcement.
I feel like it would be great, obviously, to get an hour.
Yeah.
I think one of the things, having now stayed at a deluxe during some of the deluxe evening hours, it's kind of dumb if you're spending that much money on a deluxe hotel that you get like 2 days a week where you get that perk. They need it more days a week. I finally accepted that they're only going to give it to deluxes, but they make the deluxes really worth it. If you're going to charge $800 a night for a hotel room, you should get extra hours every day of the week.
You should get some perks for that. Yeah.
Well, I think they've planned it the way they do because, for instance, the options that you have coming up, right, or right now, we're on. Is it Wednesday and Thursday?
Just Monday and Wednesday.
They have the extended evening.
Monday and Wednesday.
No, on Wednesday. No, but is it? Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday though they have extended evening hours that anybody can buy, right? The
after hours. Well,
Disney After Dark or whatever. Yeah. That's for Epcot and Hollywood Studios. So I mean, you have to find a way to work those in.
You can work the paid. You can be like, if you're like, the way you sell it is, if you are not staying at a deluxe, you have the option to buy paid after hours any day of the week. And if you're at a deluxe, you get some included after hours any day of the week.
Well, if you do that, then it's not exclusive anymore. It's just extra hours that you had to pay for.
That's what it is now.
It's not going to be less. It's not going to be less attendance.
Well, no. Right now they allow any deluxe guests to go to these extra hours.
Yeah, but that's just it. They allow any deluxe guests. That's why it's such low attendance.
Deluxe guest gets free extra hours at a different park than the people who can pay. So every night you make them different parks. So like, if I'm staying not at a deluxe, they should sell Magic Kingdom, but the deluxe guests get Epcot that night, right? So like,
alternate.
I don't know. I think that would be too rough staffing wise.
Well, obviously it's rough staffing wise, but I mean, come on, these people are paying $800 a night to stay in the stay hotel room. So like, throw them a bone.
Add some value, as John and we all have said, the value has decreased and the price has increased. So let's add some value back.
Right.
Right. I mean, for the deluxe after hours, there's nothing free, right? When I went, I started to pay for food and all that stuff. If you're paying for an after hours event, you get some free stuff.
Yeah. Free popcorn,
There's some price included stuff.
Free drinks, popcorn, yeah. But Jason, when you were there too, that was when you rode Tron by yourself, right? So it is worth going because the crowds are very low.
Well, but like I said, the reason the crowds are low is because of how
I just feel like they need more than 2 days a week. Right now, it's Monday and Wednesday for deluxe guests. They should at least have a weekend day that has extra hours. I could accept that they don't want to do every day of the week, but all 4 parks should have a deluxe after hours. Not a deluxe after hours, a deluxe included extended evening hours. They have all 4 parks.
Right.
Yeah, because they charge more on the weekends anyway, and so they're only rewarding the folks that go on the cheaper days for deluxe resorts.
And to be honest, I just want us to have more options for a challenge day. I mean, we need these deluxe extended evening hours to make a challenge possible at this point.
Speaking of, we talked about that earlier, but I guess if you're doing a challenge, you'll just eat the $10 for parking.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It also brings Uber back.
Well, we all know
a lot of people have done the challenge via Uber pretty successfully.
Yeah.
Right.
But the one thing that really needs to come back to make the challenge successful
hopping.
is the
Yeah,
park
that's what I'm
hopping
talking
needs to
about.
go away.
Nimba Brothers,
It can be
WW,
done.
and we also had
They did
an every ride completion last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still, though, you have to pick the perfect storm.
Every ride, folks.
That's
If you're
pretty much what you gotta
listening,
do.
you got to put the Main Street vehicles back in rotation. Like I'll live without the rafts, but Main Street vehicles got to go back in. They're coming out every day now.
Are they?
Consistently enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
the
certainly
Main Street
now,
vehicles back
crowds
in.
are
All
low.
right.
Okay, sorry. I know. We ramble.
Yeah, we got to get to the... Isn't there
Yes.
just one more, basically, of the 5?
So that one's
Number
kind
one
of
is...
vague, but yes.
No, sorry. Do the drum roll.
Number 5.
Simplifying, and this is as vague as they get. So I feel like they had 3, and it's like, let's make it 5, and we'll just make these so like obscurely vague that
It's like 5 reasons to come to Disney in
Right.
2024.
so
Since nothing new is opening.
simplifying
Well, Tiana's will be
Yes.
right.
simplifying the Disney Genie Plus experience. So the one thing they alluded to was that you would get to book in advance now, similar to how you did Fast Pass Plus back in the day. You could book ahead of time, which some people like, some people didn't like, obviously. I mean, it kind of, if you're staying at a resort, it helped because you could book 60 days out, but if you weren't, you were 30 days out and nothing was left by the time you got there. So a lot of people hated that.
Well, it appeared nothing was left.
Well, yes, of course,
to
same
those
day,
who
there's always
who
availability.
didn't know how the system
Yeah,
worked.
Right.
Right.
Well, most people would be disappointed going, hey, I can finally book a Fast Pass.
Right.
Great. Teacups is all I can get.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, but
And
Yeah.
it,
But it gives the
it
perception
appears
of
the
value.
average person liked.
Yeah,
It
but
does.
you get the perception of value because you know you have something planned.
right. And the other thing I like is I don't have to stay up till midnight every night to buy Genie Plus. I can buy it ahead of time now, which, well, not now, but, when this happens, when this rolls out.
when this occurs.
That'll be nice.
Well, really, you didn't have to buy it at midnight before. You could have done it the next morning.
Yeah, but
right?
they have sold out at, back when it was busy, but I would rather just buy it at midnight. It's easier.
They've sold out of regular Genie Plus.
Yeah.
After
Well, I
midnight.
wouldn't say right after midnight, you know what I'm saying, but shortly after the morning.
What
But
days were
there's
these?
also-
They had to be
They've
super
also
busy.
had days where, the app doesn't work very well, so I want to buy it.
Well, that's not going to
I
change.
want to buy it before
So-
people start crowding the app, you know what I'm saying? So,
Here's the reaction. They finally gave in, and they just Fast Pass Plus is back. It's just paid. now.
paid.
It's paid,
paid
which is
version.
what we asked for to
Right.
start with. Like, just make it a paid version of Fast Pass Plus. So here's
Right.
the pros for those of us that go all the time. Like you said, you can buy in advance. But the other
Yeah.
pro to this means that we are going to be able to pick up a lot more Genie Pluses more easily. Because the reason Fast Pass Plus was so great for us is so many people plan stuff in advance that they then had to change. Because not nobody, but most people that come to Disney don't understand the flow of a Disney day. So they make
Yeah.
these plans, not understanding that it's on the opposite side of the park. They don't take into
Right.
account that
Yeah.
everybody has to have a bathroom break after every ride. Everybody needs a snack after every ride. Everybody wants to, go see a show.
Yeah.
They don't have all that texture. So they end up changing plans a lot, which means that a
Right.
lot of times, if you're persistent like us,
Yeah.
you can get stuff. And so this should enable us to get probably a whole lot more same day Genie Pluses, which I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
I would say one thing that might be a little different, though, is the fact that because this is now paid, people are more motivated to actually make them than they were to actually show up, than they were and be on time, than they were with Fast Pass Plus because they weren't paying for it. They didn't have they didn't have the motivation of I'm already buying this.
let's just
You
talk
see what I'm
about how we're
saying?
going to bundle this, right? If they're going to start prepaying for this, you book a Disney vacation package. You go on the website and they quote you a price. That price comes with your tickets, your hotel, your dining plan, and your Genie Plus. It's all mixed together. That's what they can get back to at this point. And now you're not feeling like you're paying. You're just paying
Yeah.
a lot, and it's hard to tell what's going where. And you just paid the price, and it's all inclusive, if you will.
And if they're smart about it, it's like you pay for your dining when you book 6 months out. You wait, you don't pay for Genie until 60 days out or 30 days, whatever they decide to make it. And it spreads that out a little bit, but it's still all paid for by the time you show up. So you feel like, I'm not spending that much money while I'm here, and then let me buy that extra or whatever, or let's go here and I'm going to buy this. Whatever.
Well, they'll still have to do individual lightning lanes. I'm sure they can't change that.
But
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, once
also
you've
a little
prepaid, you're more willing to pay that individual lightning lane. There's a whole psychology at play that they really screwed up with the way that Chapek changed these things.
Back to.
The psychology is like make people pay. People don't mind being nickeled and dimed 6 months out. Once they get there, if it's all paid, it feels great.
Once you're there, you don't feel like you're being nickeled and dimed so much. Yeah. If you spread it out, but they made everything same day. So you felt like, dang, I 7 a.m. I've already spent $200 before I even got out of bed. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I haven't even started my day. I don't have a cup of coffee yet, and I've already spent $200. So it's just like, spread that out, make that happen 6 months ago or 30 days ago, and then I don't even think about it. I just wake up and I've got my lightning lane, and now I have my coffee that I paid $4.50 for, and I don't care.
Or you have your stolen coffee.
Or your resort mug that you bought 6 months ago that,
In this case, it'd be 25 years ago now, if we still had the same one.
Yeah, see if that would still work. But, see
if that works.
This is Iger. This is what I'm saying. It's so much smarter than what Chapek did. This is why.
How long before they start either making Magical Express free again or start bundling that? Like, just bundle all of it. Bundle everything. If you don't, you don't even have to bring back Magical.
You expect Magical Express to come back?
Maybe you could bundle it in,
or make it a paid service, like $50. Well, it wouldn't be 50. It'd be like Disney. It'd be
but
like
include it like make it a checkbox. Would you like to add Magical Express to your package? Yeah. Okay, great.
$50 a person, whatever. Yeah, for your airport. I mean, again, they just took it away completely instead of going like, make it charge per person or charge whatever for a ride.
I'll be a little bit surprised if that comes back with all the other things taking place. I mean, I'd be a little surprised if that comes back. But I mean, I wouldn't be like or anything if it does. But I would be. That's the one I don't like.
They need to do everything they can to get people on property and staying there. Because I'm going to go ahead and tell you, we talked about this a little bit offline. I've never been to Universal. And I know that's, crazy to be a theme park person. I've never been. I actually had a dream the other night that I went to Universal and it was terrible. Like it was on top of a skyscraper and it was like tiny. And I was like, what is this place? But anyways,
hilarious.
I'm going to Universal next year. I mean, my son is
I think a lot
3
of people
books
are.
into Harry Potter. He loves Mario. Like, it's time. It's time.
You weren't here for this week's episode, Jason, but I basically said the same thing is when Epic Universe opens, because of the Mario movie in particular, my son is obsessed right now. And so it's like, I'm going to go. I want to go. That movie was such a nostalgia hit too. So it's like, I'm going to go. And I said Disney should be scared if someone like me is talking willingly about going to Universal. That's a thing. I
want to see Velocicoaster. I want to see all this stuff. So it's time.
I'll be interested to see how or if Universal's hotel pricing changes
when they get this influx of people
because
coming in.
Yeah, well, because they honestly are, for what you get, they're very well priced, amazingly priced. I mean, if you just wanted to have, say, a 2-bedroom suite that you just want to have enough space for your family, you can get them at their newest one, the Endless Summer Resorts. You can get those for it's something ridiculously low, like $150 or something, a 2-bedroom suite. Now, granted, it's not as big as some of the 2-bedroom suites you would get maybe on Disney property, but still, it's a lot of space. for the amount of space, you're not going to get anything that has the word "sweet" in it for $150 on Walt Disney property. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So,
not at all. I don't know. Yeah, they should be thinking about that, and maybe Iger is thinking about that, and that's why they're starting to take these steps. So we'll see. Here's the last question I was going to ask about the Genie Plus that was so vague. Do we think it's going to be 1 in advance or 3 like FastPass Plus was? Probably 1, I would think, to start with. But you think they'll do 3?
I don't think they'll do 3. 1 seems so cheap, but probably what they'll do.
Yeah.
it really does.
It'd be interesting.
I wonder if when they say, okay, it says that they would like, to have Disney Genie Plus service individual lanes before the day of the park. So basically it just says before the day, and then what do they follow it up with?
I'll go ahead and put some money down that it's going to be basically the exact same as FastPass Plus.
See, I don't know. I mean, I think they probably trying to get away from doing it that far in advance. They probably want to get it a little closer to time, especially if they're going to still use a similar system to what they're using right now. That's what I think is I think that's more likely just because of all the changes you would have to make software-wise to have it revert exactly back.
Well, it's not going to be the exact system because it's paid. It's the new system. You just get to book it in advance.
Yeah, I know, but there's more to it than just it's paid. That's what I'm saying. They changed more than just that, is what I'm getting at. So if they're going to do it in advance, I don't think they're going to do it as far in advance as they did before. I just don't. I don't see them doing, 60 days? I just don't think they're going to.
Watch it. They're just going to allow us to do it at midnight on the day out.
Like 2
I hope
weeks.
that's not the case.
I think they're going to do something like maybe 2 weeks or just a couple of days or something. I wouldn't be shocked if it's just a few days, just to give you an opportunity to do it in advance.
But then you'd be having to do it while you're at the vacation. Just no good.
Yeah. I think it'll be at least 30 days out.
I think 30 days?
30 days sounds like a good number.
I feel like the issue is going to be making this system, if you're saying it's going back like it was, I think the issue is going to be making this system behave like FastPass Plus. That's going to be the issue.
Well, being able to book 2 or 3 or whatever the number is at one time.
Well, I think John's other point is this is basically a queue system. It's not like you book a hour time frame, but they already have that functionality on the individual lightning lane side. They could just sort of ride the rails of ILL again.
Right, being able to pick times, right. I think they have that functionality. It wouldn't be hard to roll that out again.
Let's just make everything individual lightning lanes and go to just a virtual version of how they did back in the day, like the e-tickets and everything.
Everything individual lightning lanes is essentially what they do at Disneyland Paris, which is you can pay per ride or you can pay this gigantic price and get everything, and you don't have a time to show up. You just show up whenever you want. It's like Universal's Express Pass.
Right. I don't
charge
$10,
charge $5 to $20 a ride, or you can pay $400 to skip the line whenever you want.
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned in the previous episode, Jason, the top 3 hotel tiers at Universal include what they call Unlimited Express, included with the package or with that
I have
hotel.
To make sure I get more
for the entire for the entire length of your stay.
I can get more well versed on this as I start planning my Universal trip next year.
Yeah. Well, the way they do it right now is for the entire length of your stay if you stay at one of those hotels. And that means you can skip every line that has
Adam,
it.
are we going to book a wand building? Is this like our new lightsaber thing? Are we going to do a wand at Harry Potter Land? And
Dude, I just jumped on this bandwagon and I already want to jump off. Hearing you talk like that,
are we gonna start buying all the Jurassic Park merch at the Velocicoaster? I feel like the Velocicoaster is going to be awesome when we get to do it.
Dude, stop talking like this. You're scaring me. And Iger, you should be scared too. So
that just means you're going to go there. You're still going to go to Disney, so he doesn't care.
I mean, we'll still go, but we won't spend as much money every year if we're going to make Universal part of it.
From a lot of like social media and stuff, I've seen there's a lot of people that go longer time periods when they go than I realize, so they probably do both anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the average guest probably does both, but Disney did a really good job of keeping people there back in the day, and they got away from that.
We're going to get the wristband so that we can do the coin thing, right?
Dude, stop.
I saw a question on, I think it may have been a Facebook post on one of the Disney sites or whatever you call them, pages on Facebook, and the question had something to do with what's the longest period of time you stayed there, and the people answering, they weren't from the UK.
No.
They were saying like the longest they ever did was like 30 days, or a lot of people were saying 2 weeks, and I'm like, I used to think that's what European travelers do. They come over here for 2 weeks at a time, but this is people within the States saying they've stayed there this long, and I'm like, so they probably did do other parks. They probably did everything in Orlando for that length.
I was there for 9 days and I didn't leave Disney.
And it was
awesome. By the way, since we're talking about Universal, I saw that there was a picture today that, I don't know if you've seen the warp pipe entrance to Mario Land at Tokyo and Anaheim, or not Anaheim, but Southern
LA.
California,
Hollywood.
You just walk in and then you're in the land. But you walk in the warp pipe in Orlando and there's an escalator up into Mario Land. And someone, I think Alicia Stella, had reported that was going to happen, and everybody was like, that's not happening. And now BioReconstruct posted an aerial photo of the escalator being built in the warp pipe. So
there you have it.
All right. Interesting effect there.
All right. So
wrap it up.
5 tips to make your Disney trip easier.
Are those the ones?
There you go. You have
dining
them.
Those are
they're coming.
Yep.
Yeah. Good to go.
Bring back everything that we used to do. Just charge a little bit more. That's essentially what they said.
Yeah. Which we're not too upset about, because they are bringing most of it back so far. They're slowly doing that, but it's weird that we're excited that they're going back to 2019, but
And they also told us to stop parking at the Contemporary. That's the other thing they told us.
Yeah, no more, or Grand Flow or whatever. But anyway.
We're not going back to 2019 though, Adam. That's not, though.
Alrighty.
So you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That is all at TWTM Podcast. We have a Spreadshirt store in which you can find your exclusive TWTM merchandise. That is shop.spreadshirt.com/TWTM Podcast. We have a YouTube channel as well, which our latest video, which is about a month old or so now, it's got some pretty good views on it, with the Splash Mountain videos. So you can go check them out at where, Adam?
Our website, travelingwiththemouse.com. We have an email address, podcast@travelingwiththemouse.com. And if you want help booking your Universal trip, Jason, or another Disney trip, you can use our travel agent friend. Her info is on our website as well.
This has been Traveling with the Mouse. So for Adam, John, this is Jason, and we hope you'll join us on our next trip.